Hey, everybody. On today's Locked On Bama, we're going to talk a lot about the scrimmage that we had this past weekend. I hope you heard about it. Jimmy and I are ready to talk about it. We hope you're ready to listen.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
Good. Just dancing to our catchy song.
We do have a catchy song.
Not many people know you wrote that.
I did. I'm like the John Tesh of the Locked On Network. For those who don't know, he wrote the NBA theme song for NBC that was so catchy. Anyway, Jimmy, Alabama, the University of, had a scrimmage in American football this past Saturday. And man, there's a lot to talk about. Look, later on, I'm hoping to do just a quick one segment deal with Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn to talk about Auburn's scrimmage, by the way, little spoiler or not spoiler preview, whatever. I don't know. There are a lot of reports coming out about this scrimmage. Obviously, some people who were there are a little bit more tight-lipped, but we've been able to read some of the reports, and there were some very encouraging things, and we're going to treat this management style, and we're going to talk about the encouraging things first, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, sure. There were some good reports from insiders. Tony Tsoukalas at Bama Central had a good report from sources at the scrimmage. Rodney Orr on Tighter Insider had a good report on sources from the scrimmage. Clint Lamb on 3 did the same. There's a few takeaways. Obviously, there was a few wide receiver drops, but let's talk about the positives. I think, it starts with this. Last year at these scrimmages, the spring and fall, the offensive line just could not get the defense blocked. And as we saw at the time, I think Alabama fans were just hopeful that, wow, the defense is so good and Will is so good. I mean, who could expect to ever block these guys? And that was somewhat true. But I think as the season played out, we saw that the spring and fall scrimmages were actually a tell of what was to come. And that was that the offensive line was just going to be a bit of a struggle. This year so far, it does look like the offensive line, despite missing guys, Dalcourt's out. Ekiyor is out. So 2 of the best 6 are absent. James Brockermeyer also out. And some other guys banged up. So it's not the full offensive line, and they still have to block Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, and Chris Braswell. I'll tell you what, I think the offensive line as a whole, and I mean every player in the room, has improved, and that's helped. And I think that's the biggest positive, is that the biggest weakness on the team, which is still a focal point and isn't as good as it needs to be, but it's better than it was a year ago, even with 2 of the best 6 missing.
Wow. First of all, I'm ecstatic. That's the first place you go in terms of the offensive line being the big deal. I think that's awesome. And, even if the offensive line had performed poorly, I think you do have to take into account you're going up against Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Braswell. I mean, you're going up against dudes on the defensive line, which you won't be going up against every single day. You'll go up against some other guys who are pretty good in the SEC because the SEC is loaded with them. You're not going to go up against another Will Anderson.
No, that's right. And look, Dallas Turner is such a good player. I mean, I don't think we talk about it enough, and we talk about it all the time. But Dallas Will is one of the best that's ever played at Alabama. Where he ranks, we can have fun discussing that all spring and summer till the games start. Where Will ranks among the greatest players to ever play at Alabama. That's fun. But it also, you lose Dallas Turner when you talk about that. I mean, if it wasn't for Will, this would be the summer of talking about how good Dallas Turner is. And the fact that they get to be on the field at the same time is so much fun. You can't double team them both. You just know if they stay healthy, they're going to set all sorts of records with sack numbers and just constant play disruption, because they're not just pass rushers. Dallas and Will are just really disruptive players against the run as well.
Okay, so we'll talk more positive in the third segment. We're going to talk some of the negative stuff in the second segment. But before we get to that second segment, I do want to say that a guy that I love a lot and that I've been waiting to explode onto the scene is Kristian Story. He had apparently 2 interceptions and had a third that he should have had. He either dropped it, and that's why he's a safety and not a wide receiver. But I'm excited for him. He plays second team right now. I don't think necessarily that will change, but I am a Kristian Story fanatic. I'm a Kristian Story fan to the 100th degree. I've been dying for him to get on the field. I've been dying for him to get out there and be some kind of leader because I think he can be. I got to call him in a state championship game. Therefore, I'm naturally biased. But, yeah, I'm really excited about Kristian Story. And have you heard anything that makes you think I'm crazy for being so excited?
No, I'm excited as well. This is what I would say about that is Alabama could easily lose not just both the starting safeties from this upcoming team this fall, but the third one as well in Brian Branch, who plays star in the games. But when they're in regular and they all break into their position groups, Brian Branch is a safety with the safety group. He's coached by Charles Kelly in the safety group. And there's a very good chance, I think, that Brian Branch is going to go pro after the season. So will Jordan Battle and DeMarco Helms. What I like so much about how good Kristian Story is, I know we're not going to see much of him this fall. We can't. The positions are taken. There's no room at the end. There's no spot for Kristian Story to play other than some special teams units. But myself, I will consider Kristian Story basically a returning starter. I will have 100% confidence next year in Kristian Story as a starting safety, and I will consider that we have 2 vacancies at safety, not 3, with Battle, Helms, and Branch all leaving. Story's going to lock down Battle spot or Helm spot, and frankly, more likely Battle spot because he'll be a good traffic cop back there with his age and maturity.
In an effort to appease the naysayers, we will talk some negative stuff from the scrimmage in this second segment. But right now, I want to tell you about Built Bar. This is the time of year where you've already given up on your New Year's resolution, March resolution. You've given up on that, but you can start over. It's not too late. Go to built.com. Use promo code locked15, promo code locked15. Get 15% off your order of these Built Bars. They're fantastic. They're covered in chocolate. I'm telling you, you will love them. You need to try the Puffs. They're the first ever, Jimmy, protein-infused marshmallow. Protein-infused marshmallow. I mean, my goodness, who even thinks of this stuff? They're awesome. They're fluffy. They're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar. They're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. They come in flavors like cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. All these are so, so good. Built Bars are all covered in 100% chocolate. Yes, including the Puffs. I know you're about to ask that. Go to built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off that order. Built.com, promo code LOCKED15. Built.com, promo code LOCKED15. All right, Jimmy. Some negativity of, first of all, the one thing that sounds like it happened was some continued drops from the receivers. Have you heard anything about that? And if so, do you mind telling us who actually was doing who was the droppee?
Well, Coach Saban himself referenced in the press conference that there was a lot of drops. And what's unfortunate about that is, look, we talked about it all off season. As soon as the season was over in the run up to spring practice, we're like, okay, what positions are we worried about? Where do we need to get better? And the question is the offensive line and wide receiver. And next thing you know, we're hearing even or two that there's a lot of drops. Obviously, they would be from the players that play the most. I mean, the guys that participate the most in the scrimmage are the first team guys. Followed by the second team guys. And these are the guys that will be out there this fall. So that's bad. It's not good. But it's also, the season isn't here. Drops can get a little contagious. Not every drop is the same. I myself, I don't think that this fall we're going to be talking about, gosh, this unit's terrible because they dropped too many balls. I don't think it'll be that. I still think the first team this fall, I mean, in terms of the 3 guys that are going to be out there the most, will be Jermaine Burton, who has very good hands and is a possession guy, first and foremost. JoJo Earl, who's going to be in the slot. He's a playmaker. He has great ball skills. Will he drop a ball or two? Probably. That's normal. And then Ja'Cory Brooks, who's not even out there this spring, he showed, I thought, really good hands last fall when we saw him play. So I think those will be the three main guys. I don't really think drops will be a huge focus, but no doubt it has to be disconcerting when we know that if not the offensive line, then the wide receiver group is what everybody's looking at, hoping it gets better.
And that was really it, though, in terms of negativity that I've heard, and that I've read, I should say. I have not seen anything else other than there were some drops. Now, there was a 97-yard touchdown, which, if you want to look at that in a negative light on the defense, so be it. We'll talk about that in the third segment. But have you heard anything else that made you say, "Oh my gosh, this is a huge concern"?
There were lots of interceptions.
Oh, okay.
There were lots, but Coach Saban. I'm going by Coach Saban's comments. He said, many were on tip balls, not necessarily its fault. When there's a tip ball or something happens, or a wide receiver, the ball hits a wide receiver in the hands, and then the wide receiver's fumbling around, it gets taken from him. That's not the quarterback's fault. Further, even if Bryce threw 2 or 3 interceptions yesterday, does that mean that we're supposed to go, oh no, Bryce forgot how to play? No, I mean, it's just a day. It's just practice. No reason to read a lot into it. I remain extremely excited about Jalen Milroe and his future. Now, obviously, this fall, we're not going to see much of him. He will just be the backup. And I don't think we're going to play the backup any differently than we have in most of the Saban era. So we won't see a whole lot of Jalen Milroe throwing a ball this fall. But I'm really excited about how good he'll be. And we all know we'll need a new quarterback in 2023 because Bryce is going to be projected so high in the draft. It would be foolish for him to return to school. The 2023 will be breaking in a new quarterback. And while I doubt, per the way it's always worked under Saban, Luke, that we'll know until we literally are about to receive the ball in 2023 who the quarterback will be. That's sort of how Saban's done in the past. If it's someone better than Milroe, oh my goodness, I will truly be excited then.
Okay, let me ask this: Milroe or Ty Simpson, who looked better that you've heard?
Well, I mean, based on the reports that were out there, Milroe, because it's obvious from all the reports out there, Milroe was the number 2 quarterback. I mean, they didn't even really split that much time. I mean, Milroe is reported to be the number 2 quarterback by everybody. So Milroe's ahead of Ty. No one should be surprised. Yesterday, I think, was the 11th or 12th practice of the spring. So Ty Simpson's had 11 or 12 practices. Milroe's been here a year. So no one should read into it in a sense that's like, oh no, I thought Ty was going to be good. If that's your take, that's just not realistic. Ty's got to catch Milroe. Milroe's going to be hard to catch because he's just freakish athletically.
All right, Jimmy, when we come back, I want to talk about some of the newcomers, both transfers and some of the freshmen. So we'll talk about that right after I tell you about BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your sports betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs in the NBA and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. BetOnline.net. That's where the game starts, right there at BetOnline. All right, Jimmy. Jermaine Burton, as I mentioned, and Bryce Young apparently hooked up for a 97-yard TD. That's pretty badass. I mean, I would love to see that. Gosh, what's trivia? All right. Amari Cooper has the longest touchdown in Alabama history in that infamous 2013 game. Isn't it wild to think in that game in 2013 Iron Bowl that Amari Cooper had a 99-yard touchdown, and it's also the same game with the kick six? I mean, what are the odds? But anyway, so
and then Alabama, the lobby to get time put on the clock so that the kick six could happen.
Yeah, agreed. Now, okay, so trivia really quickly. What's the longest non-kickoff, non-special teams touchdown non-defensive touchdown since then?
I
I don't know the answer.
know what it is. It's that Bryce passed to Jamison Williams against Miami. They were
Oh, true. 94 yards.
Yeah, they
94.
were in. Yeah, they were inside or right around the 5-yard line.
It was 94 yards.
Wow.
I remember.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Burton is going to be. Look, Burton's going to be wide receiver 1. We said it from the day he transferred to Alabama. I know that some people that just look at nothing but Burton's statistics get alarmed by that, but different offense, different quarterback, different situation. What I look at is Burton's experience, his size, his skill set, and the fact that he's going to be playing with the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in an offense that throws a ball around, and he's going to be the number 1 target. I think Burton's going to have a huge year, and I think, Luke, there will be a lot of comparisons to Jamison Williams in the fall, and it's their skill sets don't line up perfectly. He's not a Williams clone. In fact, his game is really more like Mechie's than it is Jamison's, but we'll hear that comparison because they're transferred. They transferred from another power program. They weren't wide receiver 1 where they were. They weren't the first option where they were. And they transferred to Alabama, became wide receiver 1 in Tuscaloosa, and then burst onto the national scene. That's what's going to happen with Jermaine Burton. And for that reason, we'll be hearing those Jamison Williams comparisons all fall, even though their games are a little different. Burton's a really, really good player. I think we're going to see an all SEC type season out of him.
Yeah, I think we could do. And sometimes people just need a change of venue. I mean, look, Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be good no matter where the hell he went, and he was already good at Georgia Tech. No, Burton was fine at Georgia. He wouldn't, but I mean, he also probably just needed a redo. And now he's got a quarterback that's a little bit more dynamic, and an offense that's more suited to his skill set. And I think he's going to have a big year, just like you said. How about any of the freshman receivers?
I hadn't heard too much freshman receivers making big plays yesterday. We did last week. Last week we heard Aaron Anderson had the big play against the first team defense. Anderson, a law. I don't think they're playing, with the first team, still trying to move their way up. But there's every reason in the world to be excited about both of those guys. And guys coming in the summer. It was a photo we saw over in the past week of Shaz Preston working out with Devontae Smith. And it's just a good reminder of how good Shaz Preston is. When we signed all these guys out of high school, I was kind of picking Preston as the one that would be the guy that made the quickest impact among the freshman receiving group. He's not even there yet. And I said that because of his size. And he's just a very polished player. Now that we see him working out, training with Devontae Smith, that's a reminder to me of what I thought about Shaz, which is here's a real polished kid who knows how to play before he even gets here. And so, hey, I wouldn't focus just on the freshmen, Aaron Anderson and Kendrick Law, who are on the team now. I think Shaz Preston coming in, and even Isaiah Bond, who's going to have one distinct advantage over everyone in the wide receiver room. He's the fastest one in it. The day he shows up faster than even Aaron Anderson. So Isaiah Bond could make a splash this summer. And, of course, I've always been projecting that Shaz Preston might as well.
All right. Gibbs apparently had a nice day. I saw some highlights from the scrimmage where he juked somebody out of his shoes.
You see the clip of him juking Kendrick Blackshire?
Was it Blackshire? Okay. And now, in Gibbs' defense, if Kendrick Blackshire is coming after you, your body natural defenses kick in and go, I've got to make the best juke of my life or this man will eat me. So he did juke him out of his shoes. I would not tease him about doing that. So Gibbs looks great. We all knew that. There's no sense in even bragging on Gibbs at this point because I can tell you right now, Gibbs is going to be up for the Doak Walker Award. I'm saying it. I'm stamping it. Barring injury, he's in the Doak Walker conversation.
Yep. I think that clip, I'd encourage everybody to look at it. It's on the clips from the scrimmage that the athletic department, that the Alabama football put out, a minute and a half of highlight clips to music from the scrimmage yesterday, and it did feature Gibbs making Kendrick Blackshire miss in just a jaw-dropping move that shows his short area quickness. And for all the people like, gosh, I wish I could see the scrimmage. Just watch that clip, and you've seen Jahmyr Gibbs. That's exactly who he is, and that's what he's going to do every week. His short area quickness is well beyond what we are used to seeing at the running back position in Alabama. We've had physical, move the chains guys like Brian Robinson and Najee Harris the last 3 or 4 years. Jameer is going to be wildly productive like those two. He's just going to do it differently, and that clip shows it all.
The first thought I had when I saw that clip was that was so athletic and so crazy that if I had tried that move, Jimmy, you would have blown your Achilles out wherever you were. To be like the Corsican twins. Like I would have made the move, and you would go, "Oh my God, my Achilles." Okay, so we know about Gibbs, right? What other running backs have we heard about? And how about Jermaine Miller?
Yeah, a prominent guy in reports from people that were there is how good Miller is, and we shouldn't be surprised. I read those reports and even went back and rewatched his huddle tape last night just to remind me of his high school skill set. And I'm really high on Miller. How about this? This is what I think, and this is just one of those bold prediction time, Luke. Bold prediction. 4 years from now, when we're looking back on 4 years from now, it will be the consensus opinion that Jermaine Miller was better than Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams. And I say that as fans of Jace and Roydell because I think both of them are SEC backs. Both of them are good players. I think Miller is probably an upgrade over those two.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's Gibbs. I'm not saying he's Najee. I'm not saying he's a Doak Walker winner. I'm just saying, based on what we hear, based on that huddle tape. I would forecast that for Miller. Again, I'm talking about something that we're going to agree about 4 years from now. He won't burst ahead of them on the depth chart this fall. I would guess this fall that Jason Roydell will be ahead of Miller, and that's fine. They're good players. I just think long term that Miller's the best of those three.
All right, buddy. On our next podcast, we will continue wrapping up scrimmage as reports keep coming out. Again, it was a closed scrimmage in the sense that I think some Red Elephant Club members were there, but we're trying to get reports the best we can with our sources. And so, Jimmy, until tomorrow, we will say roll tide to everybody. So roll tide.
Hey, roll tide. And in 5 days, everybody gets to see it.
There you go.